The flames of the Korean War reached 13,000 miles to Windmill Hill, Salisbury Plain, where Mr. Shinwell, Minister of Defence, visits territorials of the 49th Armoured Division who come from Yorkshire and the Midlands. Their tanks look good, but are there enough of them? This is one of the vital questions on which the nation expects prompt decision from Mr. Shinwell and his advisors. To these volunteers who have faced up to their responsibilities as citizens, Mr. Shinwell says,
"The international situation is tense and full of dread possibilities. We are fortunate in one respect. We have in this country a large territorial force. I wish it were larger. The equipment at our disposal is not as adequate as we should like it. While I do not deny that, nevertheless, we are not afraid."
In Washington, the President authorizes over $1 billion worth of arms for America's allies in Europe, while giant recruiting rallies are held throughout the country. San Francisco stages an all-out effort with massed bands and posters drawn by famous cartoonists. Each branch of the armed forces has its own booth. Marines, Navy, foot slogger or flyer, every volunteer helps in the urgent task of building up United Nations strength in Korea. 5,000 miles from their homeland, GIs move up to a steadily shrinking front line. Men think hard when they're in a spot like this. They reckon up the number of men per carriage and the number of trains per day. They measure their weakness against the strength of the enemy and wonder just how well they'll shape before another train shuttles up with yet another load of infantrymen. Equipment is coming in, but now the need is for manpower, men with guns, to hold 9 enemy divisions from a bridgehead that is now not much larger than Kent. It's the way back for these wounded South Koreans, unknown Asiatics in a half-known land. Maybe their problems have been simpler than those of men from across the seas who have come to fight for an ideal. And against the mass strength of the enemy, a mere handful of trained men. The lesson of Korea is clear to all with eyes to see.